Oh yeah.
No, it's not. Oh, this is mine.
I think this might have been for. Yeah, right.
It really does.
Kayla, do you want
Have you guys? Have you eaten yet? Oh.
It's okay. You can
So many different things.
You can keep it right here. I'm okay with it. I would not say that. Wow, the room is so full. I feel so comfortable.
One more.
I know, right? I want to show it to you.
Okay. So we're going to call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. It's really good to see such a full room with so many smiling faces, although I know we've all spent a lot of hours, or many of us have spent a lot of hours together today, so that's really nice. We're going to begin with the vocal roll call of attendance to see who's here. Again, just say here or present. President, present. IVP,
Present.
EVP, present. Gen Rep 1, here. Gen Rep 2, present. Gen Rep 3,
Present.
AAC, CEC, here. CSC, here. CAC,
Here.
Facilities, here. FSC,
Present.
SWC, and TSR. Today we have 11 council members present, woohoo, which means that we have 10 voting members tonight. She didn't know. Yeah. Right? Great. So we're going to move on to the approval of the agenda. Are there any amendments to the agenda tonight? So, Justin's hand first, then we're coming to Netta.
Can I add a discussion topic to discuss Robert's rules and orders to new business?
Okay, we can do that. Roberts. Rules. That's from Justin. Netta, your hand is up next.
Divya wants to slash the amendment of the bylaws.
The election code?
Yeah, because he's not going to be here tonight. I don't know. Just
Does he want to table it or?
I guess.
So maybe we'll table it for the week. And move it on to next
And
week.
there's something about SWC. I guess I'm just reading out.
Sorry. Table. What is it about SWC?
Something about just read the guidelines. Call if anyone has questions. That's not a change stage. Okay.
No. Okay. Yes.
Am I on to give an officer? You
Yes.
are. Can I strike that?
You want to strike it? Yes. Are there, so we are also going to strike the approval of the minutes because they weren't sent out. Yes, sorry. Yes. And Aaron?
I moved to strike the FSC officer member.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, Justin.
Can I add a discussion topic to new business regarding peace poll?
Regarding the peace poll. That's also Justin. Okay, given that we have, oh, yes.
I also added the week 0 meeting update like a couple hours ago, so I just need.
Week
also
0
approval.
meeting.
I already added in. the staff.
Under new business?
Yeah, it's an action
Oh,
item.
it's
Just
up there.
let
Perfect.
you guys know, yeah.
Great, thank you for that. Just for clarification as well, we're gonna move the CS Mini Fund Chair appointment to the top of the presidential appointments for tonight, just because she's Skyping in and I don't want her to have to wait by the computer as everyone else is being interviewed and such. So just in the spirit of our great presentation on Robert's Rules tonight, I just want to reiterate to everyone what the changes to the agenda are before we have a formal motion to do so, and someone can articulate all of them. We're striking the approval of the minutes. We are moving the CS Mini Fund Chair appointment to number 2 on the appointments for tonight. We are striking the Financial Supports Commissioner, Facilities Commissioner, General 1 officer reports tonight. We have tabled the election bylaw change, Article 9 for tonight. And we've added 2 discussion items to new business under Robert's Rules and the Peace Poll. Can we now entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Erin. We're gonna do the vocal roll call again. Approve. I apologize, I'm taking a long time to do this. Just want to make sure that since we don't have a minutes taker, we can refer back to it if we need to. So IVP,
Yes.
EVP,
Yes.
Gen 1,
Yes.
Gen 2,
Yes.
Gen 3,
Yes.
CEC,
Here, yes.
CSC. We have to approve the agenda?
Yes.
CAC,
Yes.
facilities, and FSC. Seeing as all 10 voting members have voted affirmatively, this motion passes and the agenda has been approved as amended. We are now going to move on to public comment. Just a reminder to everyone in the room, we have 30 minutes allotted for public comment. All public commenters will be allowed 2 minutes each. The first round of public comment will be audio only. We'll then move on to audio and video. As per our bylaws, the only individuals who are able to make public comment are members of the Undergraduate Student Association. Thank you, Vivi. We're going to begin over here. But let me make sure the time is correctly. So we're beginning at 7:05 p.m. Stop. Great. We're going to begin right here. Okay, we're going to move on to audio and video public comment. Thank you. Okay, seeing as there are no public commenters who are interested in making a comment tonight, we're going to close public comment at 7:05 p.m. Seeing as we have no special presentations tonight, we're going to move on to appointments, beginning with the appointment of Savannah Gardner to the Student Risk Education Committee, and that's coming from the CSC office.
She's not.
So this is a
consent.
it's a consent item. You all have already been sent her resume and a formal announcement from Adriana explaining why she's appointing Savannah. So given that it is a consent item, the way to do this is we are going to ask, is there any opposition to appointing Savannah Gardner, to the Student Risk Education Committee tonight? Seeing none, congratulations to Savannah on her appointment to the Student Risk Education Committee. Great. And now we're going to move on to our first appointment from the President's Office tonight, our CS Mini Fund Chair. For anyone who has yet to look at her application or resume, it's all been sent out to you by Vivi already. Emily is going to be Skyping in with us tonight. Let me let her know that was a lot faster than I anticipated.
I just sent you a link like that.
Okay.
There you go.
So Jessica, just sent you the invite. She went to like 7:12. Long to go.
Are you doing the other Skype one right after this, or is that
So,
later?
It's a consent item. So we'll be skipping.
We don't need to Skype.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which?
Thank you.
This is
Second
how
one.
much?
Huh? This is an action item because there is a stipend associated with this position.
So you want me to resend the link?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'll call her.
That'd be awesome. Google it out. Thanks everyone for your patience.
Voicemail. Should I leave it?
Nobody's on. maybe we can. Okay, for the time being, then we'll start with our food security appointment. We're only going to be doing one of those tonight. It is Corey Lai. Again, this is a consent item because there is no stipend associated with this position. You've all already been sent Corey's application and his resume. I can tell you he is very eager to get started, and even though it was a consent item, really hoped to be here. There was something that came up last night, which meant he wasn't able to be here. But again, application and resume have been sent out. Feel free to review them if you haven't already, but because it is a consent item, is there any opposition to appointing Corey to be one of our food security appointments this year?
Question.
Yeah.
He's not here coming?
No, because it's a consent item, so we don't have to.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
No? Seeing none, Corey is appointed as one of our food security appointments for tonight. Okay, in the time being, we'll do another one of our consent items first. Our next consent item for tonight is the Westwood Community Council, and Karen Keller is, great. She said she looked you up herself. Let me see. Hasn't come through yet, let me know. Let me close it open. Sorry, I don't have it looked up myself. Your email address is J. Alexander? Yes.
Oh, I see her over here. Oh, weird. Okay. Let me see. Maybe I can just end it and start a new one. Because it looks like she messaged me but didn't join the hangout. So let's try.
Oh, she said, Emily said I'm ready when you are, I didn't see.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to start it now.
I think we just
It's
press
on the
little
top,
hands
yeah.
on top. Yeah. Perfect.
Oh, I guess I can do this so she can see you all.
Awesome. Hi, Emily.
Oh, sorry. I have you on mute. 1 second. Is this still a consent?
No, so this is an action
Can
item.
you hear
So
us? Okay. Let me try to turn up the volume.
So just to clarify for everyone, Emily has applied to be the CS Mini Fund Committee Chair. Working on the line with you.
Should I start or sorry?
Oh, sorry, we're just setting up the volume. So,
Okay.
Emily, thanks so much for Skyping in tonight. Just to remind you, you're going to have 1 minute to do an introduction. I'm going to hit the gavel to the table when you've got about 10 seconds left, so try to wrap up that sentence. We'll then move into 5 minutes of question and answer with the council, followed by a 1 minute conclusion. Let me just set up the timer for you right now. And feel free to begin whenever you're ready.
Okay, great. So I'm going to be CS Mini Chair, and CS Mini is really devoted to community service organizations here at UCLA are devoted to health and education services. And so because these services are so important to the LA community and beyond, I've been really committed over my first 2 years as CS Mini Chair to improve communication and also the application process. And I've even rewritten some parts of the application to make it more applicable to what our clubs apply for rather than like retreats and other stuff that other funds provide money for. I really changed it to make it more applicable to our clubs, and also I've improved communication with directors of these clubs by putting more points of contact during the hearing sign-up so they can get the important updates and really maximize their funding and maximize funding for other groups as well. And beyond that, my goal for this year is to really keep these services going and also prepare for the future when I'm here. And so I really like this opportunity again. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Emily. We're now going to move into 5 minutes of question and answer. You've all again received her application and resume, so feel free to begin question and answer now. Yeah, Aaron.
So I saw that you're already the community service mini fund chair. So what's one thing that you feel like you've done really well this year that you definitely want to continue? And what's one thing that you really hope to change, or something that you've learned you want to do better?
Yeah, I think something that's gone really well over my first 2 years is improving communication, because I'm somebody who's been on the other side of the table too. I used to be finance director for Project Wild as well as the Community Service Commission. And so being the applicant to different funds over time has really informed how I've led CS Mini over the past 2 years. And I know that I really appreciate a lot of information ahead of time, such as like weeks ahead of time, here's the deadline to turn in your funds, here's the deadline to do your review of how you did this quarter as a club. And so that's really what I've tried to do over these past 2 years. And also something that I would like to keep improving is actually in the same category of communication, because there's always ways to communicate earlier and there's always ways to change how you communicate with clubs. Like for example, I had gotten feedback during years with clubs that back when I started as CS Mini chair, the application was a little bit confusing for clubs. For example, the last funding spreadsheet on the application used to be really confusing because it didn't specify the funds you're asking for CS Mini and also from other funds. And so I changed the application based on that feedback. So this year what I'll do is keep waiting for feedback for clubs to improve communication even more.
Other questions? So, Emily, if appointed tonight, you will be serving your 3rd term as chairperson. Some may say that that's an issue and that so much institutional knowledge is going to be sustained within you. What are plans that or steps you're taking to ensure the continuity of the changes that you're making and then the continuity of the committee and its strength whenever you do graduate and move on?
Yeah, definitely. I thought about this a lot because being a 3rd term chair is quite a long time. And so I'm thinking that the reason why it would be beneficial to the club or to the fund is because I am so experienced and I've led clubs in finance before. And so like just my experience is really valuable for giving clubs advice that apply to us. And as far as it goes, like knowledge kind of being with me rather than somebody new, how I plan to work on that is if there are younger committee members, I plan to groom them and see if maybe they would want to take over chair after, and I would definitely work on that throughout the year to make sure that there's a smooth transition. And also, since it's my last year at UCLA, I'm going to work throughout the year on a really detailed transition packet for the next chair, and I'm going to provide all of my contact info because I know when I became chair, the former chair was still at UCLA, so we were able to meet. And so even if I'm not at UCLA, I want to make sure that they can contact me anytime because really this fund serves some of the most important groups on campus and in the LA community. And so I really want to make sure that's taken care of responsibly. And so I'm really going to make sure that can happen.
Thank you. Any other questions? Great. If there are no other questions, there's no point in holding out. Emily, we're now going to move into your 1 minute conclusion. Again, I'm going to hit the gavel to the table when you've got 10 seconds left and begin whenever you're ready.
Okay. Yeah, throughout these past 2 years as CS Mini chair, and hopefully through my 3rd term, I'll keep experiencing the pretty much magical feeling of like groups when I experienced during hearings that they truly do such important work in the community, and I'm always wowed by all of the groups that apply to us. And there's anywhere between 40 and even 70 clubs that apply during a quarter, and they all just do such good work. And so that's why I want to keep devoting myself to serving these clubs as best as possible to make sure they can continue serving the LA community as well as other communities. So I really want to thank you all for giving me this opportunity again.
Thank you.
We get a round of applause for Emily. So Emily, at this point, we normally tell the applicant they're welcome to stay in the room or step out, whatever they're more comfortable with. We are going to mute your volume because at this point it's time for council deliberations. So you're more than welcome to stay online. We'll just mute you, or feel free to step out or feel free to shut down the video or sound, whatever you're most comfortable with.
Okay, I'll go ahead and say.
Okay, cool. So if we could just mute that would be great. So normally, because it is a stipend position, it would go through ARC. ARC was not able to schedule meetings with the applicants for whatever reason this past session. So there is no recommendation from ARC. But in order to start discussion, we will need a motion to approve Emily's appointment as CS Mini Fund Chair and a second in order for us to go into deliberation. So is there such motion?
Yes, I'll do a motion to approve Emily for CS Mini Fund Chair.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Malik. And now we'll entertain discussion. Is there any discussion? Yeah.
I've worked with Emily extensively for the past 2 years in CSE. She has a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and has done a great job with this fund in the past. So no doubt she will continue to do that.
Yeah.
I like how she is serving the position, but she's not complacent. I think like a lot of people, when they're in a position, they try to defend the status quo. But I like how she talks about changes that she's made and how she wants to continue to get feedback.
Yeah, Justin.
I really enjoyed how she's passionate about her job. She used the adjective a magical feeling when she's working with these groups and approving their funding. So I think that goes to show her passion for the job. And also I like that she's really motivated to continue to work with her predecessor or her successor come next year.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll now move into a formal vote. Again, we're going to do the vocal roll call, just as a reminder. Beginning with IVP,
Yes.
EVP,
Yes.
Gen Rep 1,
Yes.
Gen Rep 2,
Yes.
Gen Rep 3,
Yes.
CEC, CSC,
Yes.
CAC,
Yes.
Facilities, FSC.
Yes.
By a vote of 10 to 0 to 0, Emily, you've been appointed as our Community Service Mini Fund Chairperson. Thank you so much for Skyping in over the summer. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you on campus in the fall.
Yeah, thank you guys all so much.
Thanks,
All right, bye.
Bye. So now we have 2 more appointments to the CS Mini Fund Committee. Just for anyone that isn't aware, the way that this particular committee is structured is that there are 4 undergrad representatives on this committee. 2 of them are specified to come from the Community Programs Office, and the other 2 come directly from the Community Service Commission. So our 2 appointments tonight are specifically from the Community Programs Office. So our first of the 2 is Ashley. Ashley's here tonight with us. Ashley, feel free to come up, or stand wherever there was most comfortable for you. Right there, but you've got space.
Where you can all see me.
Awesome.
Okay, just right there, if that's okay. Not in front of the light.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all see me here?
Okay. So just a reminder, you're gonna have 1 minute to introduction about yourself. We'll then move into 5 minutes of question and answer, followed by 1 minute conclusion. So give me 1 second just to set up the timing. All right, begin whenever you're ready.
Hi guys, thank you for taking the time for hearing me out tonight. My name is Ashley Ramos. I am a 4th year psychobio major. As mentioned, I'm going to be representing CPO. I've been really involved in CPO this past 4 years. I've not only been a part of organizations, but this upcoming year, I actually have the privilege of being the Neo Health Caucus representative, so I'm going to be overseeing all of the health orgs under CPO and, on campus as well. So what the CS Mini Fund does, as mentioned by Emily, it's a funding org that really tries to help health orgs and education orgs and fund them so they can complete their mission statement and go out and, do great things in the community. So being a part of CPO and, being able to see what all of these organizations implement, I get a holistic view of what these organizations need and the impact they make and how this funding source can help change, their mission statement, can help improve them, and can help continue pushing them to continue moving on. So hopefully, if given this position, I'll be able to, be the voice for all of the students on campus, not only through CPO, but hopefully working with CSC as well, and making sure not only through those 2 communities, but everyone else on campus.
Thank you so much, Ashley. We're now going to move into 5 minutes of question and answer. A reminder again, we've all received Ashley's application and resume. So we're going to begin Q&A now. Are there any questions for Ashley?
Yes.
For your position as Community Programs Office Health Caucus Representative Chair, can you briefly tell me what health organizations would be applying to or you would be overseeing?
Yeah, so it's all of the health orgs under CPO, so they vary. There are organizations like the Latino Student Health Project. They're all student-run organizations and ongoing. Latino Student Health Project, the Black Latinos Age Project, the Donations of Organs and Tissues, APHC, UMA. There are a whole bunch of just health orgs under CPO that go out into the community and, not only do health fairs, but also do high school studies, just spread the knowledge about medicine and the health industry, the health groups, to the community.
Yeah, Audrey.
So with your position as the health caucus representative, is that what you
Yes.
said? You're going to be pretty familiar with the health groups under CPO. How would you go about making sure that you're familiar with and informing yourself about all of the other groups that are applying to CSNE?
That's a really good point. So even though I will be in charge of the health orgs, I have weekly committee meetings with also in charge of the education orgs, the social justice orgs, the different orgs under CPO, and I want to, continue having constant communication with you and CSC in general, and make sure I'm getting equal representation from everyone. And another way to do that is, taking the time and going out to volunteer with these different sides, not only health organizations, but also the education, the social justice side, the volunteering, I love giving my time. And by continuing to do that, I'll see the impact that all of these orgs have and make sure to continue equally representing them.
What do you think distinguishes you from other candidates for this position?
So I think the major thing that does distinguish me is that I work so closely to all of these orgs. I've been a part of these orgs. I have the passion to continue making sure that these orgs continue their mission statement, right? I've been a part of a health org for almost all 3 years. I see the impact we have on the community, on our service recipients, and I want to make sure that we continue providing these services to all of them. And like I said, being a health caucus representative and being so a part of CPO, I'm able to interact with all of these organizations that are held under UCLA.
Any questions? Okay, that will be the end of our question and answer period. Again, Ashley, you're gonna have 1 minute to do a conclusion. I'm gonna hit the gavel to the table and you've got 10 seconds left. Begin whenever you're ready.
Once again, I want to thank you guys for taking the time and listening to me. Hopefully, if given the opportunity to be a part of this position, I'll be able to equally represent all of the organizations under UCLA, not only from CPO, but CSC, and also, all the other orgs that don't fall under those categories. And I want to find new innovative ways to get the word out of, that there's this funding act for communities to continue doing their mission statement to not only those two orgs. And hopefully we can accomplish that, and hopefully we can make a difference in all of the communities that our organizations serve.
So great. Can we get a round of applause for Ashley? Thank you so much. So at this point, you're more than welcome to stay in the room. We're going to move into discussion. You're more than welcome to step out. We can call you back in when the decisions are made.
If it doesn't matter, I'll go ahead and sit.
Go for it. Awesome. So once again, ARC did not make a recommendation on this appointment. To move into discussion, we will need a motion to approve in a second in order to continue with that. So is there a motion to approve Ashley as one of the CPO representatives to the CS Mini Fund Committee? Yes, Aaron.
I move to approve Ashley to the CS Committee Fund Committee.
Is there a second? Okay, I guess it's Zara's hand up first. Thank you, Zara. We can now move into discussion. Yeah.
I really respect her commitment to having first-hand involvement in organizations, and I think her comment about wanting to volunteer with these different groups when ones that she's not part of really stood out to me, because I think in a lot of these capacities, we tend to have so much oversight that we forget to engage with the people we're supposed to be working for, so I really appreciated that.
Any discussion?
And just to follow up on that, and I agree with that completely. I think she has a lot of great experience that will help the entire committee be able to understand better what the experience is applying to this fund, and have no doubt that will help improve the funding process.
Any other discussion? If not, we're now going to move into a vote. Again, it's a vocal roll call tonight. In an IVP?
Yes.
EVP?
Yes.
Gen Rep 1?
Yes.
Gen Rep 2?
Yes.
Gen Rep 3?
Yes.
CEC? CSC?
Yes.
CAC?
Yes.
Facilities? And FSC?
Yes.
Seeing as all council members have voted affirmatively by a vote of 10 to 0 to 0, Ashley, congratulations, you've been appointed to Great. So we are now going to move on to our second appointment to the CS Mini Fund Committee tonight. We have Roberto. He is also going to be from the CPO delegation to the committee. So Roberto, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. A reminder to you all, you've all also received his application and resume. Just a reminder to you, 1 minute to an introduction. I'll hit the gavel to the table and you've got 10 seconds left. We'll then move into 5 minutes of question and answer and then 1 minute conclusion. Feel free to begin whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hello everyone. Thank you for having me this evening. My name is Roberto Vasquez. I am an incoming 4th year psychobio major. I guess I'm here today to show you all that I am qualified for the position. not only because I have applied through to the CS Mini through projects as being a director to projects like the Latino Student Health Project and serving communities similar to where I come from. This funding source really it's close to home because where I come from, it was an underrepresented community filled with a community of color. I remember waking up early in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning, taking a 2 to 3 mile walk to the nearest church, and seeing services like these that the community, that the CS Mini funds, helping not only my family but my community as a whole. Services like Project Wild from CSC, because I'm a first generation student, my parents were immigrants. Helping them get documented and being legal to be in America, to services like the Latino Student Health Project, receiving free medical services because of the undocumented status that my parents hold. So services like these really are important to not only to the community that I come from, but all community service projects that are funded through the CSP.
Thank you so much, Roberto. We're now going to move into 5 minutes of question and answer with the council. Starting now, are there any questions? Yeah, Chloe.
As a previous applicant to the mini fund, what's something that you would want to change or perhaps continue that you think would be beneficial to future applicants?
To start off, the application fund is amazing, but a couple things to, I guess, aid the process would be workshops, holding multiple workshops from week 1 to week 5, because week 5 is when the application is due. Just trying to guide these projects to ensure that their mission and statement is attainable and achieved. There's also, I've also wanted to do mixers in order to bridge a gap between CPO and CSC in order to see a collaboration of sorts within the education field, health field, and social justice.
Any questions?
Are you, so, I'm sorry, let me double check your resume. What projects have you worked with in the past?
Projects that I worked with. So I've done collaborations. So serving as a director through LSHP, I have already been able to bridge a gap between CSC and CPO through having an annual health fair that we hold in deployment. It's called OLP, or Labor Work Peace, where we help the Filipino and Vietnamese community. So we partner with VCH and PCH, along with groups from CPO, which would be Blades and .org, and LSHP, which is project director for.
Sorry, just a follow-up question on that. So since both you and Ashley have a lot of experience with health projects,
yeah.
How would you guys go about, and you specifically, go about learning more about different education projects so that you understand better?
So just, I was a project director for a health project, but that doesn't necessarily mean I haven't volunteered. We also have collaborations with projects in the educational field. So in CPO, we've partnered with Projecting Minds, LEAP, where we go out to these after-school programs and educate them about nutritional eating. Not only that, but also in the social justice field through Proyecto Jornaleros, where we try to get them involved about chronic diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and things like that. So yeah, so I've been involved in the 3 fields. I don't strictly sit at health.
Justin.
If you are appointed to this position, so you'll be overseeing applications for different funds, correct?
Yeah.
So kind of maybe a loaded question, but what's one thing that you absolutely look for an applicant to have when you're approving or distributing for the fund?
Can you repeat your question, Justin?
Oh, what's one main thing that you look for when you're approving or disapproving someone for the fund?
The main thing I look for is the morality of the project's goal. So that being said, if if the project has the right purpose in mind, which is to serve the community, then why not help them out? Because at the end of the day, we're all here to help our community. We're all here to get back to the place where we came from.
I have one question too. Today, Adriana told us that there are 40 community service projects associated with CSC, and there are 25 associated with CPO, and there are even more that don't fall into either of those categories. And given that this is a funding body, what does fair funding mean to you, and what would that look like as a representative on this funding committee?
Fair funding to me means ignoring the affiliations behind those service projects and seeing the project as a whole, not distinguishing them from CPO or CSC, but instead focusing on their community service goal, because like I said before, at the end of the day, community service is the main aspect.
Time for one more question. If there are no more questions, we're going to end our Q&A period and move into our conclusion period. We have 1 minute to close up. Feel free to begin whenever you're ready, and remember, hit the gavel so table in 10 seconds.
Okay. So I'll start my closing with a quote from Cesar Chavez. He said, "The pursuit of higher education is not the pursuit for wealth, but instead the pursuit for the betterment of our community." That being said, I feel like all of us being here at UCLA, we all have that one goal of giving back to the place where we came from, and I feel like the CS Meeting Fund really helps do that. It really helps these projects like the Latino Study Health Project, Amigos at UCLA, BCH and PCH, Blaze.org, really get back to the community and improve equality amongst all, whether it's social justice, education equality, or health equality.
We get a round of applause for this. Thank you so much. You're now more than welcome to stay, leave whatever you're more comfortable with. We're going to move into our deliberation. Awesome. So again, ARC does not have a recommendation tonight. In order to move into discussion, we will need a motion to approve in a second. Is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Can you just
yes.
say the
I move to approve Roberto for the CS Meeting Fund Committee.
Great. Is there a second? Thank you, Chloe. We'll now move into discussion.
In terms of like your question regarding whether both of them have like similar things on their resumes in terms of like health projects, how would that like, because what, I guess I just want clarification on how the funding allocation works and how it's distributed to like educational projects or social justice projects, just to get like a better understanding of like the program.
So there's no like limits on like which kinds of projects get a certain amount of money. It's more, for me, it's more of like a familiarity with groups that do service work that's slightly different, or that's like invokes a different cause. But it's like, that's just like a person, like if you're reading an application, you're gonna be more familiar with an application when they're describing what they're doing as a health project than you would if you're reading an application what they're doing as an educational project or any other kind of project. But I mean, I think both Ashley and Roberto have experience with and understanding of other kinds of projects as well. So I'm personally not that concerned, and I appreciated his answer to that question as well.
I'll add, I like how he mentioned that regardless of affiliation, he's looking on the morality of the project and the ultimate goal of service behind all these projects. So, stood out.
Other discussion?
I mean, I'll also say just on the rest of his comments, because I know I talked about this today, I think acknowledging that there are groups that are both in CSE, CPO, and not involved and trying to look past that is really important and something that I think we should really prioritize for all of our community service appointments. So I was happy to hear that he wants to prioritize that.
There is no other discussion. We'll now move into the vote. Again, it's a vocal roll call. Beginning with IVP.
Yes.
EVP.
Yes.
Gen Rep 1.
Yes.
Gen Rep 2.
Yes.
Gen Rep 3.
Yes.
CEC. CSC.
Yes.
CAC.
Yes.
Facilities?
Yes.
FSC?
Yes.
Seeing as all 10 council members have voted affirmatively, congratulations, Roberto, you've been appointed. Thank you so much for coming up. Appreciate it. So this is our final appointment for tonight. Our last appointment is Cameron Keller to the Westwood Community Council. For those of you who've heard us speak about the Westwood Neighborhood Council tonight, this is not the same as the Community Council, although it may be a little more ambitious. I should have said that on the record. But Cameron, you've all received his application and resume as well. This is a consent item because it is also not stipended, but I do feel it is important for me to say that Cameron, given that many of us in this room have witnessed and experienced the severity of the situation in terms of the community and neighborhood's relationship with campus and students specifically, Cameron has expressed, and without me even asking, already reached out to our graduate student counterpart on the community council and is very much caught up to date as to what the realities are and feels confident in being able to step into this particular position equipped to do what I think many of us on the round table think needs to be the role of said student on this council. And just so everyone knows as well, there is a graduate student appointment and undergraduate student appointment, and the vote alternates every year. So theoretically, we share a vote, which is a very interesting situation to begin with. Yeah, Nicole.
If they're appointed to, like, they're given this appointment, what exactly is their role just to like go listen and report back, or actively like engage in like dialogue?
Yeah, so we have the vote this year. So Cameron is a voting member of the Westwood Community Council. Yeah, and so I think it's really telling too that so much of our council and so much of the graduate student forum have really stepped up to be really engaged in that this year. If anyone's interested in being a part of that, I'm sure Chloe, Zara, and I are happy to help bring you up to speed. I think it's going to be a particularly relevant year this year, and that it's important that we have students who feel equipped to step into spaces that are different off campus and maybe a little more antagonistic than we're used to. I think Cameron is one of those students. But I think regarding the accountability and the reporting back to us, I think that's like an important expectation we should have of all of our appointments for the rest of the year. So that's something I think we should all, I will be prioritizing in my office, but I think all the other offices that are appointing should keep in mind too. Yeah. So are there any, again, this is a consent item, so I want to give everyone a few more seconds to read through the application and resume if you haven't already. But I will ask, is there any opposition to the appointment of Cameron Keller to serve as the undergraduate representative on the Westwood Community Council? Seeing none, we will confirm Cameron Keller's appointment to the Westwood Community Council. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. This was a very constructive appointment evening. We're now going to move on to the next section of our meeting with the officer and member reports, beginning with the Office of the President. I'm going to try to keep this brief tonight. Had the opportunity to partake in the Alumni Association board meeting this past weekend. It was particularly interesting too because it was also they have a new member orientation. Got to learn more about the history, the purpose, and the priorities of the Alumni Association. There was also a student panel. We had different campus leaders from across campus partaking in, and I think there's a definite commitment from the alumni to be more engaged in campus life. And one of the things that we recommended is for students to be invited to, so they meet once a quarter, and there was this desire amongst many of the board members to be more engaged on campus. Unfortunately or fortunately, many of them don't live in LA, so they're only here for that weekend, and it tends to be during finals week and such. So one of the ideas we propose is inviting students from different pockets of campus for different reasons to join them for lunch, so they can learn more about what students' experiences are right now. So that was really promising. I do want to publicly thank Vivi for planning such a wonderful USAC retreat. If we can give her a it was fantastic, educational, and I definitely feel like the vibe around the table is really positive as well. So thank you so much for creating that type of environment for us. I also want to thank Jessica, Dr. Geller, and Rob for organizing, presenting, and sharing their knowledge with us. So thank you for that as well. And lastly, the last round of appointments, presidential appointments applications are due September 28th. If you can help us promote those things, that would be great. We just created graphics that will be coming out from our page in the next 24 hours. I'm happy to send them all out to you as well. If you can help us do outreach for that, that'd be greatly appreciated. Yes. Oh. Done. Questions?
Are you still looking for applicants for the CS mini fund for CSE?
Yes. Yes.
Do you have the app released again?
Yes, it's open. It's still open. Yes, sorry. I want to say, so, fun fact, we just found out that one of the undergraduate representatives on the COM board resigned, so we now have 2 positions to appoint to that as well, so they're shifting a little bit. Someone's typing in? Oh, awesome. I had no idea. We had, off the top of my head, I think we're between 12 to 14. Yeah. And all those graphics will be out soon. Any other questions? Great, thank you. And hello, Saran. Is she in?
She said she was in a while ago.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect. Great. I just want to make sure to count her in for all the votes now. Great, awesome. So that's it for me. We're now going to move on to the internal vice president.
Thank you so much for coming to retreat, and I'm hoping to create more retreats, like mini retreats.
What's going on? I can't.
I'm 6, Yankees lead 5-2. It's led 1-0 and 2-1.
Can you mute yourself, Saran?
I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on.
So what happened? Did you get
Awesome.
So I'm thinking creating more mini retreats, maybe 2 hours before the council meeting every 2 or 3 weeks, and maybe grab a lunch, not lunch, like maybe dinner together every quarter or so. Yeah, and the EAF, Enormous Activity Fair, is next Tuesday, and make sure that we work together and advertise for USAC as a whole. I will hand out all the brochures to you guys before the event starts. Probably like 50 or 30 to 50 brochures per office. And that's all for me. Yeah.
Any questions for me?
No.
Does USAC have a table as a whole?
No, we are like right next to each other, but each office has tables, so we can just be together and advertise for each other. Yeah.
I have a question, and I don't know if this is more like of a meta question, but if we wanted to like put canopies by our table, can we do that?
Had to be pre-approved because Steve. Yeah, so there's canopies in certain areas, and those are the ones that Fire Marshal has like prior approved and given the layout, so.
Okay.
You could also, if you want to check, you can remind me that if you know the way it's okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Oh, I think I have one more thing. Also the T-shirt contest for ASCCLA is coming up. Make sure to let your friends, designers, graphic people know that. I think the winner gets $1,000, and your T-shirt gets to be in the center of ASCCLA store for a year.
It's $10,000.
No, $1,000. So the IVP office and the ASCCLA will collab to get the collaboration.
Yep. On the topic of EAF, I really appreciate that you keep reminding us to market it as a whole. And then we created that Google form that we use for orientation. Maybe if we can all commit to having, we probably all have our own computers and signups, but also having an additional computer where we can just put that existing form up if we want to change it, whatever, so that we have that running list of email addresses that we can use as a council. That would be maybe a solid thing we can do for another too.
If you want to use this one, you can.
Also, as long as someone's responsible for it.
On that form, it occurred to me a week ago that service is online. Sorry, I never looked at it until I tabled that one time.
Yeah, thank you. Does that sound good to everyone? You can try to have an additional computer at your table.
Yeah. And tell people to like our Facebook page.
Perfect.
I'm done.
Thank you. We're now going to move on to EVP.
Okay, a couple of things. So first is the UC Regents meeting took place last week.
Our office sent about 15 students, and we, along with 6 other UC schools, organized an action there. And 2 specific updates that came from the meeting. One is that the regents discussed potentially having another tuition increase for this upcoming year. The reason being that they feel like they need to supplement the cost for both increased enrollment as well as the cost of having, I believe, like contracted labor, things like that. And their argument is that any increase in tuition would be in the low single digits, and it would account for both inflation as well as an increase in financial aid for students who are receiving need-based aid. Unfortunately, at that same meeting, they also discussed, or I guess rather approved, increasing the pay for almost every single chancellor by 3%. So it's kind of a weird disconnect right there. So we are talking to other offices to kind of figure out what our next steps are in terms of responding to this. They haven't yet actually approved this. It was more just a conversation topic, but I just wanted to flag that. Couple other things are just some events coming up. So this weekend, this upcoming Saturday, the LA County Commission on Human Relations is having a forum on women of color and LGBTQ folks and how they feel about policing in the LA area. And so if you have any folks who are interested in attending, then we can help provide transportation to that event. And then coming up for the second week of October, so the weekend of October 13th and 14th, UCLA will be hosting the UCSA board meeting. So I'll let you all know more specific information about that. If you'd like to come in and sit in on any of the committee meetings, if you want to give public comment, it would be great to have folks show out for that. And then lastly, in terms of events, on the 23rd, I mentioned this at retreat, but most of the EVPs will be going to Oakland to have a meeting with President Napolitano. So our office will be doing like an open call for students to give feedback about things that they would like us to pass on. Last thing is I also wanted to give an update and go on the record to talk about this in terms of what happened at the Westwood Neighborhood Council that happened last week. So myself, Zara, Ariel, and then also the GSA president and EVP office were there. And essentially we were there to give public comment because their land use committee was voting to disapprove of the construction of the new UCLA dorm that's being proposed for the UNEX site. So that's one that's right across from the gas station and In-N-Out. Mainly they didn't want to support that plan because one, they feel like it's too tall and so it blocks like the iconic view of the Westwood Hills. The second reason they don't approve it is because of lack of parking. In particular, they're very concerned about longtime residents of Westwood who might face more challenges with parking because of an influx of students. And so we were all there basically to contest that. I will say I'll go on record to say I was very disappointed with the way that they responded. You all know like when we give public comment and like students come to talk to us, we don't respond back to them, we just listen, right? And the way that their neighborhood council works is that when you give public comment, they will not only respond to you, but they will talk back at you. But since your public comment period is over, you're not allowed to respond back to them. So it's a very frustrating situation. In particular, one of the members of the board, after I gave public comment, specifically said that we need to consider homeowners who pay a lot of money to own homes in Westwood, and basically implying that since, you know, these people come from wealthier backgrounds, that their voices matter more than ours, since we're only paying for like dorms or temporary apartments. So that was really disappointing. So that's something that we'll be continuously working on. So if you want to come out to the next meeting, feel free. It's a fun time. And then slightly funner, brighter note, our internship application will be coming out in the next couple of days. Our internship directors have spent all summer putting together like a curriculum around social justice and advocacy. So really, really excited for that. So yeah, those are my updates.
Any questions for Chloe? Great, thanks, Chloe. We're now going to move past Economic Affairs Commissioner to Campus Events Commissioner.
I mean, this is a company report. We don't have anything other than we released the lineup today. And we're super excited.
Yay!
Malik and I are both very tired, but excited. So, yeah. Come through. What's up?
I said, if I get a ticket, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the 23rd, right? We're supposed to get a
Oh, to find out about the lottery results?
Yeah. 25th.
Gotcha.
25th is the day. That's about it. That's all I got. Go watch the video. It's really dope.
Share it.
Yeah, share it. If you don't have a ticket, you have maybe a chance to get a ticket if you can.
Oh, good.
Yeah, 4 tickets. You're a friend. Share it.
Any questions? Great, thank you. Campus service, what, community service commission, does it say campus, does say campus.
Oh.
I was like, wait, campus what? What is this?
New position.
New commission.
Okay, I just haven't given an office update in a while. So basically this summer we've been cleaning and refurnishing our offices that have not been cleaned in literal decades. So that's been super fun. And I just wanted to thank Jessica for all of your help. It's been like a full-time job, just me going and sitting in Jessica's office asking for help with that. So thank you. For our office, we have an event called Surf Fest we do every year, kind of around Volunteer Day, where we invite all of the service organizations on campus to come and table, specifically like kind of like an activities fair, but just specifically for service organizations. And I'll have more information about that soon. Just as a clarification and a reminder, CSE is not involved in Volunteer Day at all. That's a volunteer center event, but it is interestingly different this year. So they are not requiring everyone to go. They're not even suggesting that everyone goes. They're having people who want to go register. So if you know anyone who wants to go, they have to sign up to go. And they're also always looking for what they call task captains. So people who go to the sites a little bit earlier that day and help lead all of the students. So if you or anyone you know would be interested in that, they're always looking for people to help with that. We are also going to have our office fellowship application come out in the next few days. And I'm excited about that. And then just on one of our projects, he's pretty active right now, Bruin Shelter, which is the second student-run homeless shelter in the country, is currently currently accepting applications for residents. So they accept any students who are either go to UCLA or Santa Monica Community College that are experiencing homelessness between the ages of 18 and 24. And they're accepting applications on their website. You can find more information about their Facebook. So if you know anyone or know anyone who knows anyone, it's a temporary residency application. And they also have a fundraiser this weekend at California Music Kitchen. And you should support them because they need a lot of money to run what they're doing. That's all.
Any questions for Adriana? I actually do have a question regarding the Bruin Shelter application. I understand that capacity is limited. Is it the kind of thing that is appropriate to be shared via Facebook, or is it more targeted?
Yeah, so they actually have on their Facebook page, they've shared the application with like a graphic, and it's totally appropriate to share that. It is limited space, but they don't have like high volumes of applications coming in, so yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you. We're now going to move on to our administrative representatives. Any updates for us tonight?
Just a reminder for parking, if you haven't already emailed me about needing a parking permit for you or your staff, please let me know. There's only a few spots left. And pretty much once that is full, you'll just have to wait another week or so to see if GSA uses all their allocation. And if they don't, then we can open up more.
Has the last blue permit been retained?
I believe so.
Okay, so just yellow right now.
Yes. And once you're on the Google Doc, you can go to the A-level info window to pick up the application. You need to fill out the application and take it to parking services with your payment to get the permit. So this is just step one, and then step two will be grab the application and take it in so that you can actually get the pass.
So for like doing it for a staff member, should we tell you their name and their direct
Yes, just the name. Yeah, I just need the name, and I'll add them to the spreadsheet. And then, like I said, if any, in a week or so, we can see if there's additional spaces left. And I can let you know if there's more need for parking, because I think right now we have maybe 2 more yellow permits available. So.
How soon can we go down?
Yeah, parking, fall permits were valid as of yesterday. So as soon as you take it into parking services, you can start parking right away.
Okay, but our names are
Yes, you are, if you already emailed me, you're on the Google Doc, and they'll probably just verify when you go to the window to get your application. So if you're not on that list, email me and let me know. Yep, that's it.
Any other questions? Great, we're gonna move on to fund allocations. Is Patty here tonight?
No.
No, are you gonna be doing it?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Wait. No, actually, I don't think I'm going to, because we already grant him the power to.
So we delegated it.
Yeah, we delegate. So I
Did you
think
send us the, it wasn't attached to the email, was it?
it wasn't, but I sent this.
I have it up
Oh,
if
okay.
you all want to see what it does.
But I told him that he can pass that.
I
It's
think
already
it
like,
was-
so either way, it would be fine.
So total requested, it says $4,365.89, and total recommended is $3,633.38. You all want to read the groups that applied? I don't know if you all can see that far. It's kind of small. Do you want me to read them off for you? Or
Yeah.
zoom in just a little bit? Yeah, I can try. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Thank
Is
you.
that good?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
When you scroll to the left, because I think the group name is one more over.
Oh, yes, sorry. Do you need me to go back up?
Somebody welcome us.
They're pretty new.
Oh.
Mhm.
Okay, I think number 9 is the last one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need do you have a question?
Yeah, actually, I just have a question related to contingency in general. Does anyone know when they're gonna release this application? Or like, they're actually making changes?
I think the changes have already been made.
Because the one online was like 2015, 2016 application. I feel like that's a little outdated.
We can look into that. Actually, I think they only sent around the updated guidelines. I don't know if they sent the application, but I can follow up with contingency.
Are there any questions regarding this fund allocation? We will need someone to formally make a motion to approve the allocation of $3,633.38 from contingency to these non-USAC offices.
I motion to approve the allocation of $3,633.38
To non-USAC.
to non-USAC.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Malik. I'm gonna go through with our vocal roll call again. Give me 1 second. IVP?
Yes.
EVP?
Yes.
Gen Rec 1?
Yes.
Gen Rec 2?
Yes.
Gen Rec 3?
Yes.
CEC? CSC?
Yes.
CAC?
Yes.
Facilities? FSC.
Yes.
Seeing as all council members have voted affirmatively, this motion passes by a vote of 10 to 0 to 0. The funding allocation, it has been approved. Great, we are now going to move on from fund allocations to old business, beginning with the USAC Live Guidelines update from Phoebe.
I already sent the guideline update to all of you guys. So the only thing, so we discussed this 2 weeks ago. So we either are, so what I'm proposing is, we are going to archive all the video recordings, but I will set them into private mode once the meeting ends. But if any UCLA student or staff wants to watch the archive videos, he or she can contact me, and with at least one council member present to watch the video.
So this is an action item tonight?
Yeah.
So in order to move into discussion, we will need a motion to approve the USAC Live guidelines as amended, and a second in order to move into discussion. Is there a motion to approve these updated guidelines?
I move to approve the updated guidelines.
Thank you, Malik. Is there a second?
Second.
Yes, Zara's hand up first, but thank you for that as well. Okay, we can now move into discussion.
There's a question, so that would mean that someone had to physically be there.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was like the impetus behind wanting to change that?
It hasn't been updated for like 4 years. So
Right, but like why particular, the want to set it to private and then have the approval to watch it?
because a lot of people want to see the videos. So if they want to see it, I'm going to show them. But we are thinking about the transparency or the privacy of council members or the people who are here during the meeting.
So previously, when the guidelines were first approved, there was a mention in the guidelines that said the video should not be archived at all. And so with respect and recognition of the fact we wanted to uphold accountability and transparency, but also recognition of the fact that some students have previously been targeted for said videos and snippets and editing of said videos, we want to have the ability to access those videos when we need to, but also not have them be shared widely.
So just to clarify, so these are the videos that previously were uploaded onto YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Allen was like talking about how like, there's like privacy issues that are kind of like on the right side, but also like we have like all of the USAC minutes are public anyway
and uploaded on the website.
Yeah, so it's just a safety thing.
If we do pass this, is it possible for us to like revisit this? Because maybe there's like a better way. I mean, like I know they talked a little bit about like how Berkeley does it on their website. I just feel like it's a little inaccessible to students if they have to like come in, and I just feel like you have to be students first, even though like I see the valid concerns that are raised, you know, in terms of our privacy. I just feel like it's much more important for us to make sure that any student who wants to see like what happened at the most recent meeting, especially if it's like a meeting that they couldn't come to, but something was on the agenda they really care about. So.
But they still have the chance to read the minutes online. So
is the possibility of having the videos be loaded onto my UCLA website and having that to sign in instead of the office? It's not possible.
So I actually reached out to my ACLA office to see if it was. They're a little difficult and they don't quite understand it. So like there's an iTunes function that allows educational institutions to put stuff out on there. I think it is possible. We may have to switch over from YouTube to something like Livestream in order to do so. And we should, if anyone wants to work on with that, they're just a little. It'll have to be a sit-down meeting, and right now they're a little bit busy with other things, putting up the air. But if it is something we're kind of looking into, we should pursue that because I think it is a. Yeah. Yeah, Chloe.
I guess just in terms of accessibility, like I understand the point about having the minutes, but I'm just thinking like, I don't know, some students prefer to be able to hear, like listen to meetings, and I don't know if it's possible to do this now, but I would support the idea of maybe archiving videos and doing that maybe like the school year after, right? So for the school year that council's in session, that if students are still able to see previous meetings, because I do think that that's really important for accountability. And then maybe after the year's over, then they're archived, and then if you want to watch it, then go through some sort of requesting process.
I mean, I don't know if you heard it when Doug Miller was talking about it, but it was like pretty intense, like what she talked about in terms of the editing of the videos. And I think like basically she said, I think the girl ended up like leaving or transferring. I maybe that's wrong, but it was like pretty intense. And I don't know, I feel like I mentioned this last time we talked about it, but in terms of transparency and accountability, I do understand the preference to hear and see the videos. But even if you like have one by UCLA, which was suggested before as well, like any UCLA student can target another UCLA student. It's not just like the broader public that we're worried about. It's just everybody. So I don't know, we should really think about how sometimes it's in like the safest place and how it kind of backlash.
Yeah, and it's set as private. So if you really want to see the video, you can just contact me and I will show you the video.
I think the MyUCLA option is like a good one too, because I totally agree with transparency and accountability. And like there is, so like Daily Growing has also reached out and said, hey, we can't see the video. We want to talk about the meeting. But I also do think that there's a distinction. Our responsibility to accountability and transparency is to students, right? It's not to the entire world. So I think we should look into the MyUCLA option more. regarding the proposed bylaw itself, if totally trust IVP and obviously, but I think like there should be some sort of notification to the council that someone has requested said video. That just seems like a nice, that way we're all involved in the process too. If we could make an event, so if any UCLA student or staff wants to watch the archive video, he or she can contact the interim vice president who will notify the council to view the video with the presence of at least one council member. That way, two council members, so you're not stuck viewing the video with everyone too. Like we can all help pitch in with that as well. Yeah.
So what exactly, so if this were to be put into place, what exactly would be like the mechanism for making sure that students know about like this new option? Because I'm sure that as soon as this gets passed, students won't know, they'll have to like email the IVP.
Hopefully Daily Board can help. And we can put it on our Facebook website as well.
So,
our website.
One of the other things with the guidelines that hasn't really been followed, but I think is something that we're all trying to address here too, is that it's supposed to be posted outside the door, notifying people that when they're entering the room, they're going to be on video and audio, which just gives people the option, if they don't feel safe coming into that situation, they can choose not to come in the room, or they can ask if they want to give public comment, they can ask for the live stream to be turned off so they can come in the room and give public comment. So that could be an option if you create a sign to post on the door. Also information about how to view the videos. But that is something that should be on the door, just notifying people that when they enter the council room, they are going to be on the live. There is the possibility that they'll be on the live stream video.
So I think your point is important too. If we wanted to write a letter to the editor and the Daily Bruin, it may not appear as an happen. We can do that as like a public notification to the council that this has been changed and maybe explaining the reasoning for why it has been.
For the actual mechanism, should it be something that's like posted on the website, like a forum that they would have to go through, or like what would this look like?
He or she can just email me.
Okay.
So even as of now, if you check the USAC Live, like the past meetings, the views are pretty low, I would say, or yeah. So there are a certain group of people who really want to watch the video.
I'm just having a thought, if we want to keep them updated, maybe we can just put what we change on the YouTube website, so when they log into and see the video, so they know that there's things being changed.
To address that too, maybe on the USAC website where the minutes tab is, we can just say, you know, if you would like just access to the video of said meeting, feel free to email that interim vice president at blah, blah, blah.
It's like side comment, but maybe in addition to the like letter to the editor, well, I don't know, like with one, like what you're writing, but like if you're gonna do a recap, then maybe, I don't wanna like tell you what to do or anything like that. Maybe this might be something you may consider recapping if you are inclined to do so. But of course, just a suggestion.
Yes, Justin.
So should we definitely get a platform in Medium like My UCLA or where we're gonna go before we approve this? Just so we can kind of have a.
I recommend after we approve this, because we need to get this guideline going in order for USAC Live to be going.
Okay.
Was there a hand up here? Sorry.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go for this just because like in the interim before we like start discussing other things, but like I still really feel like it's way too inaccessible for someone that's emailed it, we find a time that works for both of them, you know what I mean? And then like notify the council and all this type of stuff. You know, even for me last year when I was running, I really wanted to like know what council was like and so like watch what council videos, and I don't even know if I would have gone through all of that to watch. You know what I mean? Even though she
I was like, Aaron won't do it.
Yeah, you know, like she got like low number of views on the videos, like that's probably true, like maybe like 10 people watch them, but still like that's a lot to coordinate every single week.
So Adriana, Kayla, and Chloe.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I feel like if someone emails you, you can maybe ask like the purpose of viewing it and then like allow, like give them some kind of like password into viewing it without you being there. I don't know if that's like a solution, but it just physically finding you and watching it with you seems like the biggest deterrent. Like maybe a quick email, like I'd like access to this thing. And then like, why?
Maybe like, I don't know if you can set it to have like limited access time, so the week only works for like, maybe like from 24 hours when this time.
So Kayla, Chloe?
I also have just for the sake of students' privacy too, I'm thinking like, this might be a really weird case, but like, it's kind of different for them to view a video online behind the screen, but also like physically you right there and watching a video. And also I have a question, so what if I, a council member, wants to watch the video? So
yeah, we still need to
so three
find
people
this
watching
computer,
the videos
yes.
at the same time.
Hold it on there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no like online.
The video? Oh, no, I mean like, because you say you have to be there and.
No, I don't have to, at least one council member.
Oh,
Be there, so it doesn't have to be me, anyone on the council can be there.
So the videos are stored currently on the YouTube channel, the YouTube Live channel for USAC Live. And essentially, it's just changing the video from public to private. So the video is still there, and it can still be accessed.
Right.
But it just won't show if you were to go find the USAC Live YouTube page. It wouldn't show you any videos unless you go back and make them public, which you have the option to do. But so that's the other thing too, if you all decide to do this in the interim, but then later change the guidelines and say, no, we want them to be archived in public, you have the option to put them back public. But that only applies to your current council term because you can't go back and say, previous councils, we want them to do X, Y, and Z because, you know, they should have been operating by these guidelines, which says that we do not archive.
So Chloe, Adriana, and then Aaron.
So I keep going back to the Westwood Neighborhood Council meeting that happened last week because the thing is like they don't record or publicize any of their meetings, right? And so for us to get things on record, we had to bring like someone had to bring their phone to like video or sound record it, and even then having audio is very different than the visual, like seeing the way in which like all the council members just like blatantly like on their phones, like refusing to make eye contact, all these other things. And I keep thinking that like if in theory they had a video that was archived afterwards where I had to reach out to their like IVP, right, to ask to watch the video, like I would not do that. And I know it's like a really rare situation, but I just think that to echo what Aaron mentioned, like having to have a student sit down, especially if maybe, you know, they, not to say like against you in particular, but just like, you know, what if they have to sit down with the person that they feel uncomfortable or even unsafe meeting with just to watch this video? Like, I just can't get over that feeling because I keep going back to that Westwood Neighborhood Council meeting. And so I really want to push for this idea that like, if we are going to do something like this, that we at least archive the videos for the year after that council is out of term. So that's just my thought.
So Aaron?
Was Adriana?
You can go.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm just agreeing about with what Adriana said earlier. I really like that idea of where you could just send an email and then maybe all they have to do is just email you from their UCLA email account or give their student ID and then send them the link. I know like Nicole has a YouTube channel, so I noticed this thing on YouTube where like whenever you upload a video, there's like private, unlisted, and then public. And like unlisted means that you can't see it unless you have the link. So if you make all the videos unlisted, then you can just send the link out to the council members maybe at the end of every meeting, and then anyone else will wish to request it.
I was also thinking, like, someone must, like you mentioned, like a request form instead of like an email. Sometimes when someone thinks they don't have to go to a person to get it, it makes them more comfortable than like having to like craft an email asking for it. So maybe a request form would be like you just put in your name, like your UID and
Like statement of purpose.
right, and then you can just like submit it and you don't have to feel like you're like emailing like a person who will be like judging you.
Yeah, if it's like the USAC website, like right next to the minutes or something.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, I might want to see the video because I don't understand something in the minutes. It's just
I like that idea.
So going back to the motion on the table to approve this language, it sounds like we are not leaning towards this language. So just so everyone understand what that means that another week or 2 weeks, depending on when our next meeting is. The videos will continue to be private on YouTube. If anyone would like to propose an alternative to this language or alternative thing, I would recommend meeting with Phoebe because she's really been bringing this back up over and over again, and maybe we can come up with a more palatable solution for the entire council at our next meeting. Okay, so maybe we're going to table this motion for our next meeting. That sense I'm getting? Okay, so we will table it till our next meeting. So, point of order, question for administrators and Robert's rules. Because we had a motion and a second, do we need to go through with a vote in order to move on, or can we table it at this point?
Take a vote to table.
Okay, so we are going to take a vote to table this motion.
It's not the motion to table the motion?
I think we have to amend it.
Don't get overly.
Okay, so is there a motion to table said language bylaw change or guideline change? Yes, Aaron.
Motion to table the USAC bylaw guidelines.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Chloe. We're going to go through the vocal roll call one more time. IVP?
Yes.
EVP?
Yes.
Gen Rep 1?
Yeah.
Gen Rep 2?
Yes.
Gen Rep 3?
Yes.
CEC?
Yes.
CSC?
Yes.
CAC?
Yes.
Facilities?
Yes.
FSC?
Yes.
By a vote of 10 to 0 to 0, this motion passes, and we're going to table this item until our next meeting. We are now moving on to new business, beginning with the USAC SCOF guideline change. You will notice that there is neither a asterisk nor a hashtag associated with this because we will not be voting on this tonight. It's just discussion.
I can see her face. I don't. So the guideline change will be Article 7, Section 3, 1E. So this guideline is put, I can't see, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
So the original one is the student government operational fund is to be shared amongst the 13 council officers distributed equally by the finance committee chaired by August 1st. So we are not going to share it amongst the 13 officers, but 8 of us, which will be the president, IVP, Gen Rep 1, 2, 3, transfer rep, financial supports, and facilities. And we will not pass this, but just let you guys know if you guys are okay with this language, hopefully next time we can pass it with straight vote. Not, we can discuss. No.
We would mind just explaining for those online and our minutes why those specific offices are chosen as opposed to the others.
Because the others already got fund from other funding. Yeah. So we will, like, 8 of us will share this.
So just to clarify, it's the offices that don't have their own operational budgets.
And you already voted to approve the budget, which already was taken into consideration distributing these funds amongst the 8 offices. The reason why we're having to do the bylaw change is that it was never changed in the first place. So previous years had been just suspending the bylaws. So in order to do it in a more formal way and make sure that you're following your bylaws rather than just suspending them every time, this is the update that reflects essentially what you all passed for the budget at the beginning of the year.
Are there any questions about this language change that we'll hopefully make next week or at our next meeting?
No. Okay.
Great. We can now move on to our next item of new business, our week 0 meeting discussion, and this is an action item.
We are just going to vote if we are going to have a meeting next Tuesday night.
There's a vote of whether or not you can make it.
Yes. So if we don't meet the quorum, then there's no point.
I would even say, let's think about like what the purpose of that meeting would be during 0 week. Right, and Just leave it at that. In order to move into a discussion, can we have a motion to either, we would like to have a meeting on Tuesday, September 26th during 0 week, or we would, a motion to not have a meeting? Or have our first meeting be during week 1? Yes, Justin?
I'll move to have our meeting be week 1 of the school year instead of week 0.
Week 1, so that is Justin, and seconded by Netta. So now we can move into discussion. Is there any discussion on the item?
I think we've done good with our summer meetings, so.
Next week
is just so.
It's a lot. Okay, so we're going to move into a vote if there is no discussion. IBP?
Yes.
EBP?
Yes.
Gen Rep 1?
Yes.
Gen Rep 2?
Yes.
Gen Rep 3?
Yes.
CEC? CSC?
Yes.
CAC?
Yes.
Facilities?
Yes.
FSC?
Yes.
Seeing as all council members have voted affirmatively, this motion passes by a vote of 10 to 0. We will be having our first meeting of the quarter during week 1. Great. We are now moving on to our next item under new business, Robert's Rules, and this was proposed by Justin.
Yes, so real quick, point of clarification. So we'll just go into normal meetings after week 1, right? Tuesdays? Awesome. Yeah, so I want to bring up Robert's Rules of Orders because sometimes we're a little finicky when we are utilizing Robert's Rules of Orders here. We sometimes do, we sometimes don't. I just wanted to put on the table if we want to be really strict on our Robert's Rules of Orders, or if we want to keep the status quo how it is right now and just continue to wing it, have it how it is now.
I think that I know I personally, and I think at least a few of us, didn't know Robert's Rules of Order coming into our first meeting. So I do think it's like a learning process, and maybe we don't know that we're not using them correctly or not following them. So maybe there's just a way, like when we stopped and asked what we need to do, if we can try to continue to do that more, just so we're aware of when we're actually following them and when we're not. Just a thought.
And I mentioned this at the retreat, it's just when using Robert's Rules of Orders, the meeting can go by a lot quicker in regards to not using it. Like I've had 4-hour, 3-hour meetings not using Robert's Rules of Orders for an entire quarter at OCHC, and then when we did use it, our meetings never went over an hour and a half. So I think if we do take the time to maybe, I know there was a presentation this morning about Robert's Rules of Orders, but if we can take the time to better equip ourselves with it in the different language, it can get we can fly through it, I think.
Is there an example that you can currently give of when we haven't effectively used Robert's Rules? Because I know we used it for the most part, like whenever we motion and like vote and everything, but is there a certain example that we're not following?
So tonight, our meeting was adhered a lot more strictly with that, right? So we had a motion and a second, and then we moved into discussion.
Okay.
And personally speaking, I think this meeting went a lot more quickly and smoother than previous meetings, and just in terms of like having the conversation move along.
And
so that's just, go ahead, please.
And I think I think discussion is like mandated to be limited to 5 minutes right off the bat, so we don't have like extended conversation or discussion or awkward silence. And forgive me if I'm wrong, I believe everything, I don't want to say everything, but everything has to be like a point of clarification, point of question, point of interest, and so on and so forth.
Yes, Sarah.
I think like following Robert's rules for the sake of efficiency is okay, but then when it starts to limit like different ideas and perspectives that people want to bring forth, then I think that's when it would be better to not adhere to those rules. So like something like limiting comments to 5 minutes, where there's someone who might want to make another comment post those after those 5 minutes. That's something that I feel like we should be limiting.
With Robert's Rules of Orders, if you do reach that max, then you raise to just add. It's like how we do during public comment, just I moved to add another 2 minutes, another 5 minutes.
So before, we always discuss before we motion to vote, and now the difference is that we're motioning to discuss. Okay.
Just another person. do we follow the correct rules when we're asking questions, or should we be, I guess there's certain times we're not allowed to ask questions, we have to wait for something and then say point of clarification?
You can, that's interjection, so you can say point of clarification whenever.
Just from the point of view of like chairing these meetings, I think it helps in terms of like keeping us going and progressing in a certain direction. I think like Zara's point is very well taken though, that like we are a student body, we are a student group, and so like flexibility in terms of ensuring that we have enough time to go through points and have ample discussion about anything we're doing is super important. I will say that one of the things that we discussed in terms of Robert's rules today was according to Robert's rule, there should be time for public comment with every action item, and so that's again an example of something that we don't do. We do all of the public comment beforehand. If we wanted to adopt that as part of our practice, we could, and that's part of this discussion as well. I do think the difference is when we have discussion before a motion is made, the discussion tends to be more open-ended, whereas if there's a motion that's been made, the discussion tends to be more focused on that particular motion and focused on the conversation that people can say we're either for or against, right? And there are stricter iterations of Robert's rules where in order to make a comment for something, a comment against it has to be made also. And if it, see, we don't have to adhere to that, but I do think that some structure and some iteration does help us keep the meeting going.
In order to allow public comment in between action items, is that something we formally change in the bylaws, or is that just, or what, how do we get that going?
I think that's just a practice, right?
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's already stipulated that you follow Robert's Rules of Order, you just haven't.
Would we just be like, we motion to allow public
It would
comment?
be the responsibility of the chair to move in that. If the body of you want to do that, I think what Ariel is saying is, if you want me to do that, then let's make a decision that that's what we want as a group. But past practice has been, we don't.
And I will say, like, there is a tiny bit of urgency to this conversation, because I think if we are going to make changes, or we're going to choose not to make changes, we should do so by week one, so that we are staying with standard practice across the board throughout the year. And like, for example, I don't think it's just limited just to this specifically. Our bylaws say that members of the public who make public comment have to be a member of the Undergraduate Student Association in order to make public comment, whereas past councils have allowed any member of our community to do so. And like, I think we should, excuse me, take a stance in one way or the other, just so that we're not changing on the basis of who's making public comment. I saw Justin's hand, we'll come back to all of it.
I also want to add that, well, really, this cheat sheet is super incredible, but I've seen myself Robert's Rules of Orders be used like negatively, and so when one person is really well versed in Robert's Rules of Orders and another one isn't, you can easily very much sequester one type of idea or perspective. So if we do move to this change to affect Robert's Rules of Orders a little bit more strictly, then I think we should all feel comfortable in using Robert's Rules of Orders. So no one at council feels like they don't know how to point of order or anything, something like that.
Audrey and Zara.
Good. Yeah. But also in the changes that we adopt, we want to also make sure that it doesn't overcomplicate things for students who are here to like hear the council meetings and be
I just do think that it's a great idea to have students give public comment in between like discussions, only because if they only have the initial 2 minutes at the beginning of council, their public comment might be lost, or just we might just forget about it, and then once we get to the actual item, they could have left because it just takes that long to get to that discussion item. So I don't know. I think that that's just something we should all consider, and I know that might extend the meetings, but it's also important that we're allowing students to be as engaged with the council as much as we can, because like we're here for them.
I like that idea. I just have a more specific question about that. So if we allow a discussion in reference to and during specific talking points, does that mean that during the general public comment at the beginning, they can only comment on non-agenda items?
Correct. That's typically how things are operated.
Okay.
General public comment is for non-agendized items, and public comment around motions happens when that motion is brought to the table.
There are costs and benefits associated with any change. I think a point that Zara brought up earlier today, I thought was actually really important as well too, is like, this environment itself, even just the way that we're seated, we're facing each other, and when someone makes public comment, we're not actually facing them, and it's nice when we can turn to face them, but it's also not extremely comfortable. So if we are talking about grand sweeping changes, this may be a headache and a half for ASUCLA, and I can already see Jessica's wheels turning, but like, if there is another space that would allow us to sit in a more of this type of formation where we can literally face the public as we are speaking to them, I think that might be something to look into as well. But I do think this is like, I appreciate you bringing it up. I think it's a longer conversation, but I think it's one that does need to be had sooner rather than later. I would like to ask if Rob is comfortable doing so, if we could have a more thorough presentation about Robert's rules during week one for those, especially for those who weren't there. I think that those of us who were there see that there is value in adhering to the rules and adopting them.
Sure, happy to do that. I think in the meantime, you might read Rosenberg's, because it's only under 6 pages, and that will give you a good sense of it. This is a different parliamentary procedure, and this is all there is versus the 800 pages of Roberts. But happy to.
So, in recognition of the fact that we're not having a meeting during 0 week and our first meeting is going to be week 1, I would like to propose that maybe we as a council can meet ahead of that meeting and come up with a standard we want to hold ourselves to throughout the year, and then that we can share with the campus during our week 1 and when we do have our first meeting. I imagine that week 0 is going to be busy for folks, so maybe we can send out a doodle. But I do want to say that like we should go on the record with what we are doing by week 1. So even if that means meeting 2 hours before our meeting, that Tuesday before our meeting, we will have to come up with something by that time. Is that something, I think, Justin, if you are interested in helping to lead that, because this is something we propose, is that something you're interested in doing?
Yeah, definitely. I want to raise a question. Would it be to concretely kind of get it down? You said, should it maybe take the form of a resolution to say that we're going to hold ourselves accountable to this, or is that a little bit burdensome?
I think the benefit of that is that it's written out, but I do think if there is a resolution, it has to be open to the flexibility of being a student body serving students and like an ability to be flexible to the needs of our constituents. That's fair. How does that sound to everyone? Good, so sort of, yeah. Great, so Justin, can you try to send out that doodle sometime in the future, and we can try to get as many folks to that meeting as possible so we can really flesh out the details of that. Fantastic. Justin, you're on the agenda once again. Our next item is a discussion regarding the Peace Bowl.
So yeah, we discussed the Peace Bowl here and there in different settings, stuff at this table and just in communal senses. But I would really like to kind of either end the conversation here so we can know what we're going to do with this Peace Bowl anniversary. I think it's the 10-year anniversary of it coming up. And I think it'd be a great way, in my perspective, for us as a council to open up the school year and kind of show like solidarity amongst us, but also that we're paying homage to the Peace Bowl and what it represents, and that it is in front of Kirkhoff. So I just want to see if there's any interest in us having that sort of ceremony. I know it would be like a free thing. We don't have to really pay for anything. No interest.
I'm personally interested, honestly. I think that there's symbolism in that, so I'd love to sit down. Maybe we could do a special presentation for council about what the history of that specific thing is and what it represents, so that maybe everyone's sort of on the same baseline understanding of what it is, and we can decide how to move forward. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
If anyone else is interested, feel free to chime in.
I'm interested to hear about
that. Awesome. All right, so that is the end of our new business for tonight. We are now going to move into announcements. Are there any announcements tonight? I can throw out 3. If you are on campus Sunday and want to be part of a really fun campus activity, This Is Bruin Life is happening in Holly Pavilion from 2 to 4. It's a great opportunity to hear student stories and interact with incoming students when they first get here. Directly after This Is Bruin Life is the Westwood Block Party. If you're in Westwood, definitely be there. It sounds like it's going to be so much fun. and a great way to get affordable deals on great things in Westwood. And I know that it would mean a lot to our friends at the Residential Life for us to be there, to be present, and be a part of it. And then secondly, I know a lot of us have talked about our internship, fellowship, apprenticeship apps being out. I know we talked about putting out a campus, a USAC-wide Facebook event to promote all those things. Thank you to those who have already sent those in. My internship directors have already volunteered to do that, if everyone's okay with that. So if you do have an internship that you would like to promote as part of our collective Facebook page, please send me a description for your internship and a link to the application and any relevant due dates and such by Friday so they can have it all formatted and put it up by Monday of 0 week. Does that sound good? Mm-hmm. Great. Any other announcements tonight? Awesome. Let me remember. All right, we're going to do the vocal roll call of attendance before we close. So again, here or present. President, present. IVP,
Present.
EVP, present. Gen Rep 1, here. Gen Rep 2, present. Gen Rep 3,
Present.
AAC, CEC, here. CSC, here. CAC,
Yes.
Facilities,
Yes.
FSC,
Here.
SWC, and TSR. All right, and with that, we will now entertain a motion to adjourn. Yes, Justin?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, at 8:40 p.m. Is there a second? Thank you, Chloe. We're going to do a vocal roll call one more time. IVP?
Yes.
EVP?
Yes.
Gen Rep 1?
Yes.
Gen Rep 2? Gen Rep 3?
Yes.
CEC?
Yes.
CSC?
Yes.
CAC? Facilities?
Yes.
FSC?
Yes.
By a vote of 10 to 0 to 0, this motion passes and we can officially adjourn at 8:40 p.m.
Good night, USAC.